Hey, this is Tom McMurran with New Currency University, and I'm the host of the Grant Cardone TV show, The Coin Prophet. I want to talk to you today about the 3 stages of development of creating a digital currency or what we call a cryptocurrency. There's a lot of critics out there. There's a lot of bloggers that think they're experts on the subject. And honestly, they're just leveraging the traffic of the new currency industry, like keywords like OneCoin. I mean, you look at some blogs like Behind MLM, the only time they get spikes in their traffic is if they write a negative article about OneCoin. And if you look at their website, very simply, they're out there just leveraging the traffic so they can sell some scam to, the readers that are looking at their publication. And that's a tangent for another time because I was in online publishing and I know why they're doing it. It's just a technique that we call yellow blogging, and it's like the bottom of the barrel of reporting, and it's like, you're scum of the earth. It's like getting your facts from the National Enquirer at the grocery store and living your life based off the National Enquirer. It's got to be the dumbest thing in the world, okay? But let me stay on point. I want to talk to you about digital currency in the 3 stages of development. You got companies, the first stage is what I call the river, okay? You got to be able to create a river. And what do I mean by that? You got to be able to create a community, okay? Without a river, you will never, ever have a valid or widespread cryptocurrency. You've got to create a river. And how do I look at that? When I have people call me up, they say, Tom, you seen Visionary, you seen Capricorn, or, have you seen Swisscoin, or have you seen any of these? And I go look at Alexa.com. I have the pro version of Alexa, which most people have the free version. And I look at the analytics of the company. And I can tell whether they are creating a river or not, if they're even ranked in Alexa. Now, Alexa is an Amazon company, and it bases their ranking off of global web traffic. And the free version's good. The pro version's a lot better, but the average person won't spend $199 a month for the pro version. But I have it so I can analyze companies because I'm an investor in the digital currency space, and that's one of my due diligence tools that I use before I start putting money into another company. Most of the companies that I've mentioned have terrible Alexa rankings. Okay, they're not even on the chart. And you look at companies like Crypto888.club, you look at that company and you'll see a camel hump, which is a really bad sign because that means they peaked and then they plummeted. And I will say that was one of the ones that Behind MLM was pumping out there as they were stating negative articles about OneCoin. They actually alternatively were pitching you another deal. And of course, everybody in that deal appears to have lost their money because the company has just gone flatline. They can't create a community. They can't create a river. Okay, creating a river is very important because without mass adoption, you will never have a valid currency. Hear my voice on that one. If you don't have the masses using it, you will never have a real valid digital currency. You look at like Bitcoin has a really decent sized community. It'll never be huge because they're a first mover. They've made mistakes. They've been pigeonholed. Who knows? They could change it, but rarely do first movers in technology ever steal the show. It's always the second movers like OneCoin and people that come along and say, like Dr. Rusha, she figured out that people don't like volatility. So she created systems to prevent volatility like trade restrictions. Of course, that becomes a negative blogging subject. It's like, oh, you don't have liquidity. Well, I got news for you. In 18 months in Bitcoin, you didn't have liquidity either. So keep that in mind. If you're going to compare Bitcoin or Litecoin to OneCoin, let's compare it in the same time era, if you will. Okay. So the second part of digital currency is you got to be able to create what I call dams. You got to be able to regulate that river, okay? The dams are what the exchanges are, okay? And the trade controls that they have, they put in place. So a dam regulates a river, right? Well, just like a cryptocurrency has an exchange, if you just let it fly wide all open, you're going to have your currency be $1 one day and $10 the next day, and people are going to be scared to death to invest in it, okay? That's bad. OneCoin has figured out how to fix that problem by putting in trade restrictions in the beginning. Just like a tech stock, if you get options in a brand new startup company, tell me I'm wrong, but they also have trade restrictions on them as well. So for you that are out there going, oh, it must be a scam because they have trade restrictions, I can tell you're a novice investor because you've never invested in a startup tech company. They all put restrictions, legends on the back of the stock certificates that don't allow you to sell them, within 3 years, 5 years. They limit how much you can sell. There's all kinds of restrictions. So an exchange is very important, but a unregulated exchange can be very scary. Look at Mt. Gox. It just went under and hundreds of millions of dollars was lost to Bitcoin because it wasn't regulated. They didn't have somebody auditing it. They didn't have any controls whatsoever. So controls on an exchange are actually good. And in fact, if you find an exchange that doesn't have controls, you might want to get your money out of it because historically they've gone out of business. All right. So when we create a dam, we create trade restrictions and we make the river flow properly. That's what a dam does, right? It regulates the river. Okay. And it also creates energy, doesn't it? So it has a good byproduct and it allows people to generate profits. That's what I relate to energy. Okay. Now, the third thing you need to have, okay, so you've got your coin, you've issued it, you've built your community, you've got your dam, you've got a place where people can buy and sell the coin. The third step is creating the tributaries. The tributaries are probably the most important because that really legitimizes your coin, and that's where you have the ability to have e-commerce and merchants accepting your coin. That gives you the ability to develop a core business where you can start moving your coin like an ecosystem would in streams and rivers, etc. Okay? So when you think about the 3 steps, create the river, create the dam, create the exchange. So create the community, create the exchange, create the e-commerce. Well, that's exactly what OneCoin is going through, and they're delivering it all in the first 18 months. Well, a lot of people, again, they compare OneCoin to Bitcoin. Bitcoin wasn't even close to where OneCoin is in the development of their cryptocurrency. So I want to kind of compare apples to apples. If you're out there reading all the crap, listen to my words and say, okay, if you're going to compare one company to another, compare them in the same time frames. That just doesn't make sense to compare a startup to a mature company. It just doesn't say, oh, well, this one sucks because it doesn't have this. And that's what people are doing. But I look at what's going on with OneCoin. They've created the river, 2 million people in 18 months. Okay, they've created the exchange. Their website stays up, folks. It's got all kinds of security on it. It's very well protected. We haven't had any cases of hacking or theft or fraud or anything like that on OneCoin. That makes it a really solid platform and something people can be consistent with. The coin has grown historically by 20% a month, which has had people feel very comfortable about the growth. It didn't go up 100% one month and down 10% the next month. It stayed consistent in its growth, and that's because Dr. Ruscia's put a solid dam in place that allows the regulation of the cryptocurrency and the flow of it. And that's very, very important. The United States government has those restrictions in place too, by the way. Okay? They really do. Watch if the stock market collapse more than 1,000 points in a day. Guess what happens to the stock market? What do? They shut it down. Oh no, we don't have liquidity. Well, those are stop losses that are put in place to protect you. Okay? And then, of course, the e-commerce aspect of it, where, here's OneCoin that has 2 million members. Just when they release the e-commerce program, you got to figure there's at least 500,000 members that are entrepreneurs that have home-based businesses that they're going to actually start accepting OneCoin for services. And so I'm real excited. I look at, companies that can create rivers would be companies like PayPal. When PayPal comes out with a digital currency, if they ever do, I'm going to be front line trying to figure out how I can mine that currency, how I can gain access to it, because 181 million members around the world, that would be huge. Okay, Amazon could do the same thing. Walmart could do the same thing. The U.S. Postal Service could do the same thing. All of these organizations have the ability to create rivers. The question is, can they create the exchanges with all the systems and controls in place, and will people trust them and accept their digital currency? And that's what's great about digital currency is the transparency aspect of it, the finite aspect of it. And I'll go through the attributes of digital currency from an investor standpoint in another video, but that's really all I want to cover today. That's how you roll out a digital currency. Got to create a river, you got to create a dam, and you got to create tributaries. The river is the community, the dam is the exchange, the tributaries are the businesses. You can't do it in any other order. So if you're listening to bloggers who say there's no liquidity, we're not at that stage yet. If they tell you, oh, there's trade restrictions to screw you, no. They're just stupid. They're saying that because they're ignorant and they don't understand that that's one of the realities of this industry. They're obviously very unsophisticated business people that are saying that, because if they were smart, they'd have the same thing in place. I mean, let's be honest. Dr. Ruscia was a partner at McKinsey. You realize that McKinsey only hires the top 1% of the class. She was one of the largest fund managers in Europe. Okay, this lady's been very well vetted, has a doctorates in law, master's in economics. I mean, I can go on and on about her. But I've seen her performance in the last 18 months, and it's been nothing short of phenomenal. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video from New Currency University. I will see you on the next training. Bitcoin, OneCoin, Ethereum are becoming the smart currencies of investors and businesses worldwide. My name's Tom McMurran. I'm the author of the Amazon best-selling ebook, The Seventh Disruption, The Rise of the Digital Currency Billionaire. I'm also the host of Grant Cardone's TV show, The Coin Prophet. Each week we'll be exploring the new currency lifestyles, and we'll be talking to leading industry experts, investors, and businesses just like yours about strategies of new currency. We're going to show you how you can reduce those pesky bank fees. We're going to show you how you can cut down on payroll expenses, and those chargebacks, you can forget those. With the new currency, they're gone. Tune in every week to The Coin Prophet exclusively on Grant Cardone TV.